guys, my name is Mary and I want to share a little bit of our story with you and our journey. So thank you for clicking on my channel. I'm not really sure what brought you here, if you are a foster parent or an adoptive parent, or maybe you're considering a special needs adoption, or whatever the case may be. Welcome. I hope that I can maybe inspire you or educate or whatever it is that you may be looking for. I hope that I can kind of fill that need. So today I wanted to take a few minutes and just kind of share what our family looks like. So my husband and I got married at 19, and while we were dating, we actually had many conversations about what our future family might look like. I have lupus and Sjogren's and a bunch of other autoimmune diseases, and I was never really sure if I would even be able to have kids or carry children. So I wanted to be really upfront with my boyfriend at the time that if we did get married and we're ready to start a family, that we may not be able to have a family the traditional way. So he was totally fine with that. And we just decided after a couple months of dating that that was it, and we were a good fit for each other, and we got married at 19 years old. So fast forward about 2 years later, we found out that we were able to have biological children, and we welcomed our first son, Josiah. And I remember being in the hospital, holding this little baby, so in love with him, and thinking, all right, when can we have another? So being a mom has always been like the desire of my heart and my passion. And 16 months later, we welcomed biological boy number 2, and we named him Noah. So we had Josiah and Noah, and again, kind of in the hospital holding this beautiful little boy and going, when can we have another? Yeah, you probably think I'm crazy, but that's me. Like I said, it's always been my passion to be a mom. And so unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, after baby number 2, my health really started to go downhill. I have lupus and Sjogren's, and again, a bunch of other autoimmune diseases, and all of that kind of stuff was kind of flared up by my second pregnancy. So after going through a lot of treatments and medical stuff over the next year after having Noah, we made the decision that it would probably not be the smartest thing to have more biological children. But we both felt at peace with that, knowing that adoption was an option for us. So when our little boys were about 2 and 3 years old, we decided to start seeing what our options were for growing our family. And we looked into foster care and decided at that point, with having 2 little ones at home, foster care was just not going to be a good fit for us at the time. We were afraid with having 2 little ones at home that they would worry about the permanency of getting attached to a younger sibling and then having them go back to the biological family, or if they would start questioning their security in our home, and it just didn't seem like the right fit at the right time. So we decided to do an international adoption, and we knew that we weren't really like baby people. We didn't need to have a baby to feel like that wasn't just the desire of our heart, was just not to bring home an infant. We knew we wanted a waiting child, a child either that was a little bit older or that had special needs. And specifically a child with special needs, we really felt called to, we didn't know what that would look like, what kind of special needs we were willing to accept, or what it would look like even to adopt a kid with special needs. But we knew that that was kind of the direction that we were supposed to take. So we decided to go with an agency, and we asked for a list of waiting children from all of the different countries that they worked with. And it's funny how God works, because he was very direct in bringing us to the child that we ended up adopting. First, we looked at the list for Thailand, and we found a little girl there that was a waiting child, and we started to try to pursue her, an adoption for her, and it was just like door after door was being shut, and it just was not going to work out. We knew that a Chinese adoption was not going to be a good fit for us, because we didn't meet a lot of the requirements that China had. And Burkina Faso was another country that they worked with, and we knew that that wasn't going to work, because I really hate camping, and you actually had to like take a boat to this remote island or something in Africa and camp there with like these giant bugs and whatever for like 3 or 4 weeks. And I was like, yeah, that's not for me. So my husband would have done it in a heartbeat. Not for me. So that was kind of off the table. We also looked at a Ghana adoption, but a lot of the kids available through our agency with Ghana were older, and we had heard and done a lot of research about adopting kind of in birth order. And we knew that we wanted a child about the same age as the 2 little boys that we had at home, so about 2 or 3 years old. So we ended up getting the list for Ethiopia, and how the list was made was there's the child's name, their age, their gender, and their diagnosis. So like it would say, if they were blind or deaf or had Down syndrome or had a birthmark, because we found out that having a birthmark was literally considered a special need. Club foot, just the whole list of special needs. And so I had found 2 little girls on that list that I decided to ask about. And so I emailed the adoption coordinator asking for more information about these 2 little girls. And when I went to bed that night, something was just tugging at my heart to ask about this 3rd child that was on the list. And the reason why I didn't ask about that 3rd child to begin with was because for the diagnosis, it said cerebral palsy, global delays. And we had gone through the checklist of everything that we would accept. Would you accept blind? Yes. Would you accept deaf? Yes. Would you accept a club foot? Yes. And we had gone through this list. It was pages and pages of special needs. And one of the special needs that we said we really didn't want to accept was a child that couldn't walk. We lived in a 2-story house, and we thought that's just not fair to the child to have to be confined to one level of the house, or not have easy access to both levels. So that was kind of the one special need that we said, yeah, that's just not going to work for our family. So you see where this is going, right? So that tugging at my heart all night was for this third child, and I emailed her in the morning and said, oh yeah, can you tell me about this other child too? I'm pretty sure it's not going to work out, but can you just give me the information? I'm sorry, if you see me taking frequent sips of water, this is part of my autoimmune disease. I have excessively dry mouth, so please excuse that. So I sent off the email, and the next day I get a phone call from the adoption coordinator, and she starts telling me all about these 3 kids that I asked about. So we get to the third child. She's gone through the first 2, and it's like, okay, sounds, interesting. That's nice. She gets to the third child, and she goes, then there's Deborah. Oh my goodness, Deborah, her smile just lights up the room. Everybody that meets her loves her. She's such a great kid, and she's just really talking her up, and I'm like, oh, that's great. Wow, she sounds perfect. Can she walk? And Erin, if you're out there watching this, I love to tell this story. So I love your response to this. Erin was the adoption coordinator on the other end of the phone. And she says, no, she can't walk. And I'm like, oh, well, then that's just not going to work for us. And she goes, why do you say that? And what's your reason? I said, well, because we live in a 2-story house, and that's just not fair to the child. Like, that's, it's just not fair that we would have this 2-story house and they wouldn't have access to the top floor, and that's where the bedrooms were. And like, I gave her the whole spiel, and she goes, is that really your reason? And I'm thinking, like, isn't that reason enough? And I'm like, yeah, that's really our reason. And she goes, well, then if that's your reason, let me just tell you, she's in an orphanage right now. This little girl has no parents. This little girl is not getting love and support and attention. And she's like, do you think that she would get that in your house? And I'm like, well, of course, but she'd be on one level of the house. And she goes, if that's seriously your only reason, then I beg you to reconsider. I believe that Erin had 12 kids at that time, almost all of them special needs. And she told me about her son who couldn't walk, and they lived in a split level. So as soon as I heard that, I was like, okay, I'm sold, because literally that is the only thing that I was thinking, like, it's not fair to the kid. And when she put it in terms of that, it kind of sunk in, like, how desperate of a situation it was that these kids are not getting time and attention and love, and we're a family that's totally open to providing that. So I said, okay, yeah, like, send me the picture. This sounds great. So we get off the phone, and I'm like totally convinced that, okay, this is totally going to work out. Like, she's going to be great. And even if she's on one level of the house, this is fantastic. Then I remembered, oh, I have a husband. I need to like talk to him and tell him that I've totally changed my mind about a kid that can't walk. So I'm like, George, we can handle a kid that can't walk. Like, isn't this fantastic? And he goes, okay, sounds good to me. Like, we were both totally on board at that point. And we open up the email because she said she was going to send me pictures of these 3 little girls. We open up the email, and we see the most beautiful little girl I have ever seen in my life. And 18 months later, we brought home our little Deborah and, our little Debbie. No, okay. So we brought her home, and Deborah is a joy. We decided to name her middle name is Joy. Her smile absolutely does light up a room, and it's just been amazing having her in our family. Has not always been easy. There have been lots of struggles along the way, which I will be sharing with you in videos to come. But it's been good. Even through the hard times and the struggles, it's been really good. And we just adore this little girl. So she has been home for about 6 years now. It'll be 6 years on April 21st or 22nd. Ooh, I should know that. But end of April, it'll be 6 years of her being home. And we last year decided to become foster parents. So we have 5 children right now. We have 2 biological, 1 adopted, and 2 foster. We look like a circus wherever we go. We get tons of stares and lots of comments. Most of them are positive, actually. We get, oh, your family's so beautiful. We get that a lot, which it is, so I see why they say it. But yeah, we are a walking circus, and I like to say that, yes, this is my circus, and these are my monkeys, and we kind of embrace it. Like on Thanksgiving last year, we have a tradition of going out first thing in the morning and getting coffee and donuts on Thanksgiving morning. And this year I bought everybody in the family matching pajamas that said like Mama Bear, Brother Bear, Sister Bear. And we all went out to coffee and donuts in our matching bright red bear pajamas. So we just embrace the crazy. And foster care has been a whole different story than adoption. Like straight out adoption, you don't have a birth family that you're working with. It's like when it's finalized, it's done. Everything is, very clear cut and straightforward. Foster care, I would never say that if you're trying to grow your family, foster care is probably not what I would suggest for that, because with foster care, reunification with the birth family is always the primary goal. And your job is basically to support the kids and support the birth family as best as you can while you have these kids in your care, and work towards that goal and help support that goal of these children going back to their birth families. So you will absolutely get attached to these children, and they will feel like your own, and yet they are not your own until or if an adoption happens. So reunification is the first goal of foster care. If that is not an option or does not become something that can be a reality, then you may have the chance to adopt these children. So there's a lot of privacy that we need to give these children because of the hard places that they come from, or their different situations, or whatever the case may be. So if I'm not as open about their stories as I am about our adopted daughter, this is the reason why, because we need to respect their privacy. They are not our children, although they feel like it, and we love them like they are. They are not our children, and we need to respect the birth family and the whole process of everything that they're going through. So that is our family in a nutshell right now. Some of the upcoming videos that I have planned are to kind of take you through what we're going through with Deborah right now. She's about to go through a major surgery. It's called a multi-level, single event, multi-level surgery, or a SEMLS, where they're basically going to work on everything on her body from her hips down. Recovery is going to be a beast, and she's going to be in the hospital, and I seriously have no idea how we're going to get through the next couple of months. So I just kind of wanted to share that part of our journey with you, because I know that we are not alone. I know that many of you out there have kids with cerebral palsy that may have already gone through this surgery, or maybe you're considering it with them. If you have been through this surgery, I would love for you to just kind of drop a note in the comments about like your experience and any advice that you could give or anything like that. Also, if you have any questions for me, I am an open book. Like, again, my family is my passion, and I love talking to other people who are considering adoption or foster care, or maybe even just like the logistics of having a family on the larger side. So if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below, and I would love to interact with you. And yeah, so I hope that this vlog will be a really good thing, and I'm super excited about it. So thanks for watching.